Taurus urgent. What's happening to you has never happened to anyone. God is with you. Have you ever felt a quiet shift within? So subtle yet so profound that words fail to capture it? A gentle heaviness in your chest. An unexpected tear. A whisper in your heart saying, something is changing, and it's unlike anything you've known before. If this resonates with you, dear Taurus, this message is meant for you. Welcome to Zodiac Wisdom. I'm Sophia, psychologist, astrologer, and your companion on this journey of inner discovery and soul remembrance. If you're a Taurus or someone who identifies with the grounded, nurturing spirit of Taurus, know that your presence here is no accident. The feelings stirring within you are not random. They are sacred. This space was created for women like you, strong, soulful, and at a pivotal moment in life. Perhaps you're over 40, balancing responsibilities, nurturing others, and managing a career. Yet beneath it all, there's a stirring. You're not just seeking answers, you're seeking alignment, truth, and a deeper connection with the divine in your own life. In this video, we'll explore something urgent, not in a fearful sense, but as a gentle awakening within your Taurus soul. Something is unfolding now that has never happened before, not just to you but through you. The universe invites you to fully embrace this transformation. Together, we'll journey through 4 profound chapters, each unveiling deeper layers of your awareness, affirming that you're not losing your way, you're finding it. So stay with me until the end, because by the time we conclude, you may realize that your entire life has been leading to this moment. If any part of this message resonates with you, even a single line, memory, or truth, please share your thoughts below. Your story could be the light that helps someone else feel seen. Healing happens when we come together. If your heart is ready to receive something sacred, go ahead, tap like, hit subscribe, and share this with someone you love. Because right now, Taurus, God is closer than ever. And your soul is listening. Gate 1. When intuition knocks, and Taurus can't ignore it anymore. Taurus, you've always been the one others lean on. The one who keeps things stable, who remembers the appointments, who cooks the meals no one asks for, but everyone expects. You're reliable, loyal, grounded. But somewhere beneath the routine, beneath the planning and caretaking, lives a knowing. An intuition not loud but undeniable. And lately, it's been trying to reach you. You may not call it spiritual. You may not call it anything. You just know that something feels different. The music you used to enjoy suddenly feels too loud. You find yourself losing your appetite halfway through meals. You wake up at strange hours, not because you're stressed, but because something inside you refuses to settle. You can't explain it, but your body can't ignore it either. Let me tell you about Isabel. She's 52, a Taurus woman who's run her family's bakery in a quiet corner of town for almost 30 years. Her days start early before the sun, kneading dough, checking deliveries, dusting pastries with powdered sugar before anyone else is even awake. She's the type who remembers every customer's favorite muffin and always has extra change in her drawer, just in case. From the outside, her life is stable, comforting, consistent, but stability isn't the same as peace. One evening after closing up, she sat in her car, keys in hand, engine off, and didn't move, just stared out at the quiet street. Her apron still on, fingers still sticky with flour. She felt a weight in her chest, not painful, just heavy. Like her body was holding something her mind hadn't caught up to yet. That night, she woke up at 3:14 a.m., then again the next night, and the next. Not in panic, not in fear, just awake, as if something or someone was trying to get her attention. "I don't know what's wrong," she told me, voice trembling but steady. "Everything's fine, but I keep feeling like I'm missing something, like there's a part of me I've packed away somewhere and forgot." I didn't give her advice. I simply asked, what would happen if you didn't try to fix it? What if you just listened for a while? And that's when she cried, because no one had ever given her permission to stop caring, to feel, not function. Taurus, I share Isabel's story not because it's rare, but because it's common, especially for women like you. Women who've spent years holding everything together. The house, the business, the family, the facade of "I'm fine." But now something is rising inside you. Not chaos, not crisis, just truth. You are being invited inward, not to abandon your life, but to hear what your life has been trying to tell you. And your body, your beautiful, wise, sensitive Taurus body, is the messenger. That tightness in your chest, that sudden tiredness, that urge to clear out your closet, to sit in silence, to cry without knowing why, it's all part of it. You're not making it up. You're not being dramatic. You're not falling behind. You're receiving a sacred signal. And for a sign like Taurus, who builds slowly, loves deeply, and resists change unless it's undeniable, this signal may feel subtle at first, but the more you ignore it, the louder it becomes. So what if, instead of brushing it off, you sat with it? What if you made yourself a cup of tea, not because someone else needed it, but because you did? What if you turned off the news, put down your phone, and just listened? What if you walked into a quiet room in your home and asked, "What part of me have I forgotten to check on?" You don't need to understand all of it. You just need to stop avoiding it. Because intuition isn't always a lightning bolt. For Taurus, it's a shift in breath, a flicker of discomfort, a feeling that your routine doesn't quite fit anymore. And when that happens, don't run. Don't fix. Don't power through. Just pause. Because Taurus, your gift isn't speed. It's presence. And presence is what intuition needs most. So if you've been feeling strange lately, emotionally full but energetically tired, hopeful but oddly untethered, this is your moment. Not to figure it all out, but to return to yourself. In the next chapter, we'll talk about what happens when life changes anyway, before you feel ready. Because sometimes the shift doesn't wait for your permission, simply begins. And when it does, Taurus, you'll be stronger than you think. Gate 2. When life doesn't wait for you to be ready, and the shift begins anyway. Taurus, if you're honest, you like to know what's coming. You don't rush into things. Not because you're afraid, but because you believe in taking your time, in making things last, in preparing well, in staying loyal to what you've chosen. But lately, something's been shifting, quietly, without warning, not in the world around you, but inside. Maybe the life you've built, the one that once felt so safe, has started to feel tight, like a sweater that no longer fits even though you wore it for years. Maybe the conversations you used to enjoy now feel shallow. The schedule you once relied on feels heavy. The roles you've played so well, caretaker, organizer, peacemaker, no longer feel like home. But here's the hardest part. Even though you feel the shift, you still don't feel ready. You want more time, more clarity, one more sign, one more reason. And yet, life doesn't seem to be waiting. Let me tell you about Marion. She's 58, a Taurus woman who worked for 2 decades in local government, supporting families, organizing programs, showing up for everyone else. She was known for her calm, her steady hands, her clear answers. But last spring, her body stopped cooperating. First it was fatigue, then joint pain, then panic attacks that came out of nowhere at the grocery store, in meetings, in the middle of making dinner. Her doctor said nothing was wrong, but Marion knew better. "I feel like my life is trying to push me into a new chapter," she said. "But I didn't ask for this chapter. I'm not ready." And yet, everything began to change. Not dramatically, but undeniably. The morning coffee no longer gave her comfort. The work emails went unread. The smile she used to offer so easily started to feel like effort. She didn't have a plan. She didn't know what was next. But the only thing more painful than the unknown was pretending that nothing had changed. Taurus, if any part of Marion's story feels familiar, it's because the same thing may be happening in you. A shift, a quiet realignment. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your soul has decided it's time. And sometimes, yes, life moves before you feel emotionally prepared. It ends a relationship you've been holding together by threads. Closes a door you kept trying to wedge open. It takes something away, not out of punishment but to make space. And the hardest part? You won't feel ready. Because Taurus, readiness isn't always a feeling. Sometimes it's a choice you make inside the discomfort. A decision to stop clinging to what's fading. A decision to breathe through the grief of what used to work, but no longer does. A decision to trust that the unknown may hold more truth than the life you've been carefully preserving. You don't need to know what's coming next. You only need to stop pretending that what was still fits. This doesn't mean you burn it all down. Taurus doesn't do chaos. This means you listen to the whisper that says, "You're growing. Let go. That might look like taking one thing off your plate without apologizing, or canceling a meeting and lying in the sun instead, or saying, "I don't know what I want, but I know it's not this anymore." This is the sacred discomfort of becoming. And here's the secret no one tells you. Taurus is not afraid of change. Taurus is afraid of change that feels unsafe, unstable, unfamiliar. So what if you made it safe? What if you grounded yourself through this shift by creating tiny rituals, soft spaces, gentle moments where you remind yourself, "I'm allowed to change. Even now, even here." Because what's happening right now isn't a breakdown. It's a beginning. And beginnings always come disguised as endings. So if your life has started shifting without your permission, trust that it's shifting for you. And you, dear Taurus, are more than ready, even if it doesn't feel like it. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the part of you that's been waiting beneath the surface for a long time. The part that remembers who you are beyond what you do for others. Because now, it's not about adjusting to change. It's about coming home to yourself. Gate 3. When love stops looking like a person and starts feeling like peace. Taurus, you've always loved with your whole being. Not loudly but deeply. Not through words but through presence. Through acts of devotion no one asked for but everyone felt. You hold hands tighter. You remember the little things. You love in ways that feel like home. But somewhere along the way, someone may have taught you that love had to come from outside. That it had to arrive in the form of another person, partner, a relationship, a clear definition, a label. And maybe you gave your heart soft and steady to someone who didn't know how to hold it. Maybe you waited, hoped, stayed longer than you should have because your loyalty was stronger than your fear. Maybe you still wonder if they think of you, if you mattered, if it was real. And Taurus, if no one's told you this yet, yes, it was real. It mattered. And yes, they still feel you. But the love that's calling you now isn't coming from another person. It's coming from within. Let me tell you about Amelia. She's 46. Taurus sun, Scorpio moon. She spent 17 years married to a man who never saw the way she poured love into every corner of their home. Who never once asked what made her feel beautiful. Who called her too sensitive every time she cried during movies. Or when she'd stop mid-sentence to notice how the light was falling through the kitchen window. She left 2 years ago. Quietly. No big fight. Just the slow, aching realization that staying would mean losing more of herself than she was willing to give. But here's what surprised her the most. After she left, she didn't feel free. She felt empty. Like a shell of a woman who'd forgotten how to receive the love she used to give away so easily. "I thought leaving would fix everything," she told me. "But all it did was show me how long I've been disconnected from me." So she did something that scared her more than divorce ever did. She stopped searching. She stopped filling the silence. She sat in the middle of her quiet apartment, lit a single candle and said, "Show me what love looks like when it's mine to give and mine to keep." That was the beginning of her return. Not to a partner, to herself. She started dancing again, not to perform but to feel. She bought new sheets, not for guests but for her own body. She wrote poems no one else would ever read, just to hear her own voice on the page. And one morning she realized something powerful. She no longer missed him. She missed herself. And now she was home. Taurus, this is what spiritual love looks like. It's not performance. It's not romance's rescue. It's the sacred act of choosing yourself over and over, until it stops feeling selfish and starts feeling holy. You are ruled by Venus, the planet of love but also of worth. Which means your journey through love was never just about finding someone else. It was about remembering what you are worthy of. Real love, the kind your soul has been craving, will never require you to abandon yourself. It will never ask you to shrink, to prove, to wait in silence for crumbs. It will look like deep conversations that don't leave you confused. It will sound like "I see you," not just in your beauty, but in your stillness, your sadness, your soul. It will feel like peace. And until that love arrives in another, you are allowed to become it for yourself. So start with something small. Make a beautiful meal just for you. Buy yourself flowers and let them wilt slowly. Wear the perfume that makes you feel soft, even if no one else smells it. Read aloud to your own heart. Let it hear what tenderness sounds like in your voice. You don't have to stop wanting love. You just have to stop abandoning yourself while waiting for it. Because love doesn't start when someone else chooses you. Starts the moment you do. In the next chapter, we'll tie all of this together, the whispers, the shifts, the surrender, and explore how to walk forward not as someone who's trying to become whole, but as someone who finally remembers, I already am. Conclusion. You were never falling behind. You were becoming. Taurus, if you're still here with me, then I know something in you was ready. Ready to feel more honestly, to listen more deeply, to stop rushing through your own sacred turning point. Maybe you didn't come here looking for transformation. Maybe you simply wanted words that made sense of the strange shifts happening inside you. And yet, here you are. More present. More honest. More awake to the quiet truth that's been following you for years, whispering. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to stay where you no longer feel alive. You don't have to keep proving that you're strong by staying silent. You've walked through moments in this message that mirrored your own unspoken thoughts. The heaviness you couldn't explain. The shift that came before you were ready. The ache for love that didn't mean losing yourself. And now I want you to take a deep breath. Because something sacred has already begun. This isn't just a message. It's a mirror. A soft place where your truth got to breathe. Where your tears, your questions, your quiet yes were held gently and without judgment. You're not the same woman who clicked play. You're softer now. And stronger for it. You've remembered what the world tried to make you forget. That your worth is not in how much you do, how well you hold it together, or how quiet you keep your needs. Your worth is in your being. So let me ask you now, what part of this journey stayed with you? Was it a memory you didn't know was still alive? A sentence that felt like it was written just for you? A moment where you finally let your body tell the truth your mind has been avoiding? If so, leave it in the comments. Because your words may be the light someone else has been searching for in the dark. We heal in the space between stories. We find each other there. And if this message found you at the right time, take one simple action to honor it. Tap like. Hit subscribe. Share this video with someone whose heart is whispering too. This is not just a channel. It's a sanctuary. A space where women like you, Taurus women, soul-led women, get to stop surviving and start returning. And this journey, it's only beginning. In the next episodes, we'll explore how Taurus women like you can rebuild relationships from truth, rediscover their purpose after years of quiet sacrifice, and tap into the power of Venus to live a life that feels soft, sensual, and sovereign. Until then, stay close to yourself. Stay loyal to your intuition. And remember, you are not behind. You are becoming, exactly as you were meant to.